grass and the, figure out my settings again. I gotta switch it back. I gotta stop watching TikTok. What was I talking about? We upgraded a lot.
We gonna wing it.
Poti and Best Buy Total Tech, we were that family that they like, nah, Whiskey, get down. What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another vlog. My name is Avianda Latis and this is my husband Marcellus, and we just currently built a semi-custom new build from the ground up. We have slowly but surely been decorating room by room and vlog by vlog. In this video today, y'all, we doing another sit down, and this is our final step 5 of the semi-custom new build process. So if you look on our channel, I have a playlist from step by step that me and Marcellus walked you guys through, and the last stage that you may have seen was step 4. So we are here just to close out our process of our builder and the different phases that we went through to begin building our home, where we did our pre-walkthrough and our closing date. And the first, the first 2 weeks, 14 days that we have to have them fix things, or is it 30? If you are interested in this and you are building a semi-custom home currently, just hit that subscribe button and keep on watching. Week prior to closing, so if you guys don't know, and I think I did it a couple of vlogs back, but our closing date got pushed back by a week, which we were okay with it. We had wiggle room with our current home, or our last home that we were selling, that the buyers wasn't moving in until the first week of November, or November 1st. Up until the closing date of October 28th, Marcellus had to come over here and do a walkthrough of our home to basically see anything that needed to be fixed before we closed.
Yeah, so it was definitely a process, I would say, is when you need to be the most asshole.
Yeah, or alert.
Be alert and just be a stickler about everything. Because if things aren't, if you see something that's not fixed and you decide, oh yep, it's all good, and you get to closing and then you see stuff, they're going to tell you, well, you got to leave it up to warranty to come in and make that change or fix that issue. So definitely be on top of it. Look at everything. Look at the ceilings, the gaps underneath your moldings, the baseboards, how they meet up to the wall. Make sure those aren't gapping. Your floors, make sure that's meeting all the way up against the baseboard, and you don't have a gap from your floor to the baseboard. Paint issues, your door frame, like make sure the edges of your door frames are sanded down and it's not cheap wood
or done fast. Yeah. Like that was the problem with our issues that we found, was that it looked like they were rushing to get us into closing and into our home, which is fine, but the quality of the work was, if we had to rate it, it was definitely a 4 out of 10. But one of the things that I'm gonna list up here too, the things that Marcellus listed, because he just went on and on with the baseboards, the floors, the paint, the cabinets, all of that stuff. Make sure you look out for it, but also have your build out plan. That's one of the things that I wish I would have had with me, was that you forget that month 1, it took us about a good 8 months in this process of building, and we picked out all of our structural, all of our design changes in month 1 and 2. So here we are in month 8, and I don't remember what I picked out. I don't remember what upgrades I had. So I think having that build out paper printed with you on a day of walkthrough is definitely needed. And don't half-ass it. When I say half-ass it, meaning that make sure you open up all your kitchen cabinets. So one of the upgrades that we did was we did the soft pull, or the soft close. One of our cabinets did not close soft, like it slammed.
It was just a regular
hinge. Yeah. So making sure you go through all of your cabinets. Like Marcellus said, looking at the floor, some of our floor wasn't lining up to the baseboard, and I think they said it shifted or something. Like, so just making sure you on that, and then getting inside the crevices. I know one of the things that Marcellus did too was to make sure that we had a good foundation. He went and I'm gonna try to see if I can insert a clip of him doing it, but he was in every room jumping up and down on the floor, like literally making sure that there was no squeaks, no sounds. Like, we had a solid foundation underneath our floors. So I think that's the biggest tip, that for the flooring part of everything, is making sure that you don't get the squeaks. You buying a new house, you don't want it to feel like an old home when you're walking through it. Another thing that we noticed too is that we have carpet, which I was not a big fan of. Marcellus wanted carpet, but I do feel like eventually, once Gabby gets older, I'm gonna make him, not certain parts of our home, I want the rest of it hardwood, but it was nails inside of our carpet. Like, they didn't push them down all the way into the floor. And
especially
I think
the stairs.
Yeah, I think I stepped on one of them, and we were very adamant with our construction manager. Like, we have a 1-year-old that's crawling around, running around, like, that's dangerous for her. And so, and actually, sidebar, when I take the kids to the bus stop, one of our neighbors, it happened to him. Like, he didn't pay attention to walking on the carpet and getting those nails down, and his son ripped his whole pants because he snagged it playing around on the floor. So just little things like that I was like, wow. Like, and once I stepped on it once, it added an additional 30 minutes to our walkthrough with our construction manager, because now I'm going in every room that had carpet to make sure that the nails were nailed down. So floors and cabinets and the walls are major key alerts.
Indoors.
Oh, indoors, yes.
Like our master door, bathroom door, still don't even have it. The stops on the back of the door to make sure you don't get dings in the wall from the handle when the door opens.
Yep.
Or even make sure that they painted the back side of the door.
Back side of the door. Yeah.
Those are all
It was
issues.
just a lot of half-ass. Like, I could not complain about a much smooth process that we had with our builder up until 2 weeks to closing. Like, the reason why our closing date got pushed back was because they didn't pay attention to the cabinet size they put in our full bath down here for our guest suite. And that was just one of the things I was so frustrated, and I voiced it on here, was that we are not the first, I mean, we're in the first phase of our subdivision, but we're not the first Waverly floor plan that they have built. We're also not the first Waverly floor plan that made that half bath into a full bath. So it frustrated me that they did not catch that when they've done this floor plan more than once now.
Especially with that cabinet being in here for months.
Yep, in here for months. And I don't know if your builder gives you a walkthrough, and if they don't, request that you have a 5 days before you close to walk through your home. So moving on, enough about that. After the walkthrough, your builder reach out to you the day before, or no, I'm sorry, the day of your closing. We came back to our home and we walked through for the final walkthrough to make sure that everything that we found on Monday has been completed by Friday morning before we sign those papers. So that was another thing. Again, if you are a family like that, we are, with maybe you were bringing your kids with you to close and all that other stuff with you, I would just be mindful of, if you have to do your final walkthrough before you close, to not have the kids there to be a distraction, to make sure that everything that you found was completed. And so we didn't have our kids with us, it was just us, but it was definitely something that we took from our neighbors. It was like, hey, if you got kids, don't bring them, let them be surprised on moving date, because you really need to focus on what you need to do. And so that leads me into the actual closing day process. But our process was seamless. We signed a majority of our documents before we got to closing, and all we had to do was do our wet signature, which was like the quick claim deed. I'm sorry, not the quick claim deed, the deed of trust. And we got our HOA information and all that good stuff. So one of ours, so y'all know that we are newlyweds and we are a blended family. And I will say, the first angry moment I have with my husband is that, like I told y'all from beginning, this whole process has been smooth. When I say that things that Marcellus wanted, they gave him with no issue, no pushback. If they messed up, they fixed it, and they added additional stuff. I wanted a gate, a fence on my porch, and they were like, no, we don't include that because you guys are not elevated. The only reason why other people have it is because they're elevated. It's for, what is it?
It's for the grade elevation of the drop from
yeah,
the
it's like
porch
an
to the-
inspection
to the
thing.
ground. Yeah.
Like they have to meet it for inspection. So I wanted that when we pulled up, they had gave it to me for free. So it was just a lot of different things that overall experience before the hell of two weeks prior to our closing was 10 out of 10. Had no issues. Every time I called, anytime I wanted to come see the house, it was no problem. My husband then goes and rates our builder. I don't even know what he gave them. He didn't give them a 10 out of 10. And it dropped their ratings tremendously to where we were the only home in the community. Basically, they did not give a 10 out of 10. And the biggest argument that we had was, I told him, I was like, I understand your frustration of certain stuff not being completed before it was time for us to close. However, we did not have nowhere near hell of a process that other people had in our neighborhood or just in general. So I felt in my heart like these people wasn't like saying, oh, well, fix it and then don't fix it or don't come back out. And I was like, I just didn't feel like they deserved the score that he gave them.
So the survey asked, was your home completed at the time of closing? We had our closing delayed because our home was not completed. There was the issue with the bathroom cabinet that delayed our closing process. So when I read it, I said, no, our home was not complete at the time of closing, and it delayed us to make us have to rush to have 2 days to move out, where we were planning to have at least a week, and to make sure that things were at the other house were tidied up as we needed to be. I wasn't comfortable with it, and there, besides just the delay, there were other items that were not fixed and still to this day are not fixed. And so in my eyes, no, it was not complete at the time of closing.
Yeah, so I just didn't agree with that at all because it was little stuff. It wasn't major things like we couldn't shower or we couldn't pull in our driveway, we couldn't close our doors. Like the house was, it was literally minute things, and I was like really upset because I was like, these people are people that they're still building homes in this community, right? Like, and instead of us reaching out to warranty, we could just go outside and say, hey, I'm having this issue, can you come fix it? And I felt like we were that family that they like, nah, y'all ain't give us our 10 out of 10, so we ain't helping y'all. So, but as time progressed on and we started to have additional issues with the company, I began to feel like now I see why my husband gave you that score, because even with, y'all know my rants that I go on in my videos about our vent, we have not had a vent since October 28th. It is March 15th. We just got our vent maybe about 5 days ago that it was actually installed, and my husband had to do majority of that. So Poti and Best Buy Total Tech, we kind of like got a sour taste in our mouth. For us to have spent the amount of money that we did on our home, I don't feel like it should have been looked at as nitpicking, you know. But one of the things that I did learn too that I would love to tell people to pay attention to for us as a lesson learned is, what you see in the model is what you get. And I think we're blind eye to that. When we go in our model, it's pretty, like I don't see nothing wrong with it. But if you look at it with a fine tooth comb, the quality of it is not there. And I say that because I upgraded, and I'll insert a picture in here, but I really wanted the wainscoting in the entryway of when you walk into our home and in our dining space. And so that was something that we just my husband kind of bite the bullet and was like, okay, give it to her. But then when we got it, you know, my husband is an engineer, so they see things at an eye level that us, to me, normal people just don't pay attention. It's like, oh, it's good. So you want to speak on what was wrong with the wainscoting? So
they used it's cheap material that was untreated and not prepped for painting. Yeah. So it was very rough. They didn't sand it. They didn't even level it when they put it on the wall. So there's gaps in the corners when you look at it. You can see all of the grain, and it is rough edges. As far as if you ran your fingers across it, you get a splinter. So it's not sanded down. The painting on it is terrible. There's runs all over it. and
it just was bad for it to be an upgrade.
Yep.
We upgraded a lot in our home. Like, I think our sales manager said that we was the only house in our neighborhood that upgraded so much structural and design. We had the most upgrades. I upgraded our spindles to the iron spindles, and they stained our wood and got the stain on our iron spindles and was not able to clean it off. So it's something that I have to keep in my notebook for when we send out our large email to warranty of the things that need to be fixed before our 1 year. But it's just like the sloppiness that, you know, as a common sense person is like, I'm gonna stain the wood, or I'm gonna put something around the spindles to protect it before I start staining it. So that was one of the things that I was just really highly disappointed that it was more so rushed in areas that didn't need to be rushed, if that makes sense. Like, you could have took your time to do that. Like, it ain't like we got these massive staircases and all these different art. We had that one iron spindle, the spindles going down. And pay attention to your model homes. And I mean, when I say pay attention, I'm not saying go up close. I mean, get down on your knees, squint and look, because everybody on TikTok and Twitter and Angus is whatever is in the model home. If it's not to meet your quality or your standard, you either walk out or you just deal with it. Like, or don't upgrade, do it yourself. So that's just kind of where I wish it was now, that I would have just rather my husband take his time and did it versus us spending an additional like $2,000 on getting that added into our package. So that's just me personally, as a girl, as a woman, as a wife that's not in the construction industry. Like, and one of the things that I say this is because our sales manager was like, well, this is how it is in our model. I'm like, no, it's not. I'll go over to the model. It's exactly, he wasn't lying, like it is. The only thing that I think is the difference is that when those nail pops happen or scuffs get on it, they're able to have people come out and kind of tidy it up really quick because they're showing people this home to sell. Right. So I think that was the only difference of it, but the quality of the sanding down and not, it was all there. Like, everything was plain sight for us to see.
Keep in mind your price point of what you're spending and what you expect the quality to be like, and not even when you're building a home. Go and look at homes that's for sale in in your area that's in that same price point, so you can make a comparison. All right, this is what a $100,000 house look like here versus me building a $100,000 house, and this is the quality of their model.
Keep that Excel sheet to compare, so that you can have it. I always tell my husband, like, I get a little bit sad because a part of me really did want to keep, I'm probably gonna do a separate video of all the upgrades that we did in our home, so y'all can see that we're not exaggerating when we say everything in this house was an upgrade. Like, we have nothing standard besides the carpet, right? I think that's it. Like, that's pretty. In the paint. The carpet and the paint is the only thing standard. Everything else we upgraded. It is certain things that I do kind of wish I would have held off on. Just having the knowledge now and seeing certain things and being more educated from YouTube of other people. Even shout out to Brandy When Life Gives You Clemens. Like, I was showing my husband their video. Like, they literally was in their homes measuring their island, and my husband was like, we probably should have did that. I'm like, because we probably missing an inch off of our island. But they were like, things like that you don't really know, right? Like, you don't know to measure stuff like that when you come into your home in the middle of the construction process, to make sure that the measurements that they showed you on the house when you sat down and built it on the computer, that they're actually meeting those measurements. So
the big stuff is what you definitely want to measure, like the opening for your oven. You want to make sure that's at if your oven needs to have a 36-inch opening, make sure that it measures to 36, because your oven is going to be true to size.
Yep. And so that going segue into our appliances, that is another thing that I wish that we were more diligent. I felt like we were, but we took what they were sending us over. I think the next tip that we highly recommend if you are building a new build is that if you are getting your own appliances and you're not doing the appliances with the builder, I highly recommend coming in and get the measurements yourself once they have everything in your kitchen. We did go off of what our sales manager was sending us and just, you know, finding and getting the appliances that way versus Marcella's actually coming in here and measuring, do we really have a counter depth opening for our refrigerator,
right,
or
we can do the deep.
The deep,
right, yeah.
You know, so like, and we kind of got our gap. It's not a big thing, and I know that Marcellus could probably border it around, like kind of tidy it up, but it's just stuff like that that I just wish that we would have just did our due diligence, since I was over here almost damn near every week. And when the cabinets got put in, it was nothing for him to, you know, measure our openings, because we did do the built-in appliances versus the standalone ones. I think a lot of builders are including it now since the shortage is over. We were in an iffy stage. It was kind of like I wanted my upgrade to the KitchenAid, but then it was like a back order on, well, you probably won't have the KitchenAid, you'll have something equivalent. And Marcellus was like, I'm not, if I'm paying almost $750,000 for a house, I don't want mismatch appliances. And I was like, yeah, I kind of feel the same way.
and even then, if I'm telling you I want KitchenAid appliances or a certain brand appliances, doesn't have to be KitchenAid. I'm giving you the money for it. I'm expecting to get that, not where this is a equivalent, because you can give me something that's of lesser, or it can be in my benefit of something better. But I want to get exactly what I want. So.
Yeah. Another thing too that I wanted to point out is when you're in your final stage and you're doing your walkthrough and everything, look inside of your sinks, whether it's your bathroom sinks, your kitchen sinks, the laundry sink, whatever it is. We did have scratches in our basin black sink that it looks like the painters were cleaning their brushes, I think our father-in-law said. So it scratches in our brand new sink, and it's like, okay, you know, can nobody see it, but again, this is a brand new house. Like, I'm paying for everything new, so I want everything new. And that's just where we're at with it. There's nothing else that I can say about it. I am one of them people who is like, not like my husband, where it's like, oh babes, don't worry about it, it is what it is. But again, when you work hard and you ask for something specifically and it's ruined, I want it replaced. So that will be on our list of our warranties as well, that I want to be basing. Here's the catch, right? For grass. So we here in Michigan, our builder did not include grass.
It's an option, but it's
not included. It was,
it's
right.
An option, but
it's an option. So it is the upgrade to get the grass included into your home. However, it was not standard. And so I was talking to my husband again about this, with me doing more research and watching other people build their homes in other states, that people were getting grass and a privacy fence and landscaping with trees and flowers and everything. And I'm like, y'all didn't have to, like, I'm literally commenting on the videos, like, y'all didn't have to upgrade this, y'all didn't have to pay extra. And they like, no. If you live in Michigan, I did tell my husband, again, I do wish that in the final steps we would have added the grass onto our home for it to be rolled into our mortgage, because I do feel like that is something that is a part of the home, and that also was the grass and the...
I'm trying to do some stuff for that.
It's the sprinkler system as well that's connected. So I think that could have been something that we could have had an extra 10 G's in cash flow.
Yeah, rather than
paying it. I mean,
like,
it would have added, what, she said $10 more onto $100?
I mean, like the mortgage would have went up more slightly, but
it would.
I saved money. I look at it in this way: I saved money by paying for it now because it was $2,000 less for me to do it myself after closing, versus having them roll it into the mortgage, and then on top of that, you getting interest charges on top of it, on top of that 30-year loan.
I think that's a personal preference for you as a family of what you want to do, but we end up doing that. But I think I was a little bit more salty because all my YouTube friends didn't have to pay for their grass, and I was like, that could have came in my pocket for my furniture and for my shopping, and we had to come out $10,000 when $8,000 rounded up 10 grand. So that all happened within 14 days of us closing. We end up getting our grass and our sprinkler system down. Final stages, step 5 is be prepared. You are in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever month it is that it took to get your home built. You are in the last stages. So you're not going to remember anything that you picked out and did in month 1 or 2. So I highly recommend having your build out printed out when you do your walkthrough. If your builder does not offer you your walkthrough, request one. I highly recommend that you go now. If you are in the middle of building, go now. Look at the model home that you looked at, so you could be prepared for the quality that's going to be in your home. And
I just thought about it. Also, check your windows. That was another thing that we had problems with. Some of the windows were misaligned or wouldn't shut and close at all, so they had to replace, I think, 2 of the windows down here.
I'll definitely make sure I list all of everything that and it will be down in the description as well too, and fully detailed of what we feel like are major things to look for when you are walking through your home, especially if you went crazy in the upgrades like we did. Like, you want to make sure that you're getting every penny worth from your home, from your builder. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that step 5 help you and give you tips on your process of building your semi-custom new build. Wherever you're at, what state you're in, make sure you drop it down below and let us know that you are part of the semi-custom new build family, and let us know what state you're in when you're building your home, and we can share feedback, I guess. Like, you can see, even with our home being done, I still look for feedback or just different reviews from other people that's building, because like I said, this is not our dream home. This is one of our dream homes. This is our transition dream home. So we are looking to start our building process in the next 4 to 5, 6, maybe 6 years that we plan to begin actually looking for land to build. So again, make sure you follow me on Instagram at @AviandaLatice and our couples page, Smith 2.0. And again, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next vlog. Toodaloo. You want to do your favorite part?